Good morning, I'm Bree Driscoll, and here's your Spectrum News in 90. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump agreeing to debate each other twice in the coming months. The first debate will be hosted by CNN on June 27th, the second on September 10th, put on by ABC. The Trump campaign also proposed debates in July, August, and October, but the Biden campaign told Spectrum News it would only agree to the two that are already set. Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen is back on the stand today as the criminal hush money trial continues. Trump's legal team cross-examining Cohen, whose credibility could determine the former president's fate in the case. And the former president is requesting New York's highest court to intervene in his fight over the gag order against him. Trump has already been fined $10,000 and threatened with jail time for breaking the order. An independent commission investigating Maine's deadliest mass shooting, hearing from the shooters. The family apologized to Card's victims in March and released an analysis of his brain showing he had traumatic injuries. The U.S. military says it has finished installing a floating pier to allow for additional deliveries of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. Those are your headlines. Now here's a look at your weather on the ones.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez. We're looking ahead to temperatures in the 60s and 70s on the West Coast, places in Southern California like LA, some fog and some sun, and in the 70s today. A lot of rain keeping you in the 70s in Dallas and Oklahoma City. Meanwhile, some rain in New York City at 64 degrees. Showers and storms coming across Illinois, Indiana toward Kentucky and Ohio, and then heavy rain and a threat of severe storms in the south. More on that coming up.
Thanks so much for joining us here on Spectrum News. I'm Bree Driscoll. Today is Thursday, May 16th. Our top story, the 2024 presidential contenders facing off next month. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump agreeing to debate each other twice in the coming months. We'll hear from both campaigns coming up, but first, national political reporter Taylor Popolars breaks down how the agreement happened.
It all started with a short video posted to X early Wednesday morning.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal.
President Joe Biden's re-election campaign proposed an unconventional plan for general election debates, explaining it all in a letter to the Commission on Presidential Debates that's hosted them since 1988. One debate in June, one vice presidential debate in July, and a second presidential face-off in September, each primary debate in 2016, and a Democratic primary debate in 2020, foregoing the commission's plan to host debates between mid-September and early October. Within an hour, Trump accepted, writing on his Truth Social app, "I am ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the 2 proposed times in June and September. I would strongly recommend more than 2 debates, and for excitement purposes, a very large venue." And by noon, Trump and Biden agreed to a June 27th debate hosted by CNN and one on September 10th put on by ABC. Political communications expert Peter Loge says the way this all happened was unique.
I think the Biden campaign's approach is to try to pick a bit of a fight. At this point, it sounds like 2 kids agreeing to meet behind the swing set after recess.
Team Biden argued the commission held messy debates in 2020, and their plan for debates this fall is too late in the campaign season. Loge says it's unclear whether this marks the end of the commission, but he called.
If you have a debate right as early voting is happening or right before early voting, you have the debate, you have a strong performance, you reach out to your voters and say, you saw I won, vote now. That way you take advantage of the surge, you lock in the votes before public opinion resettles to a norm.
While Biden and Trump appear satisfied, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. criticized the new plan that appears to leave third-party candidates out, saying on X that Trump and Biden are colluding to lock America into a head-to-head matchup that 70% say they do not want. One of the Biden campaign's more unique stipulations is that the debates take place without a live studio audience. So far, despite Trump pushing for a large venue, it seems Trump and the networks involved are agreeing to that. In Washington, Taylor Popolars, Spectrum News.
Both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump's campaigns speaking with Spectrum. Our national reporter Angie Gonzalez has more on what both sides are saying.
This election cycle, the presidential campaigns for both Biden and Trump engaged little trash talk, even the candidates themselves.
So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
The former president even taunting President Biden in recent weeks, putting an empty podium on the stage during his campaign events.
That's for Joe Biden. I'm trying to get him to debate.
But with dates now on the calendar, officials with Trump's re-election effort are taking issue with one of Biden's debate stipulations. The 40th president's campaign telling Spectrum News he would not participate in debates that historically include large crowds of raucous or disruptive partisans.
Of course they don't want an audience who will boo Joe Biden for his absolute failed record. He is dishonest, he is failed, and he is weak.
The Biden campaign, for its part, saying having an in-person audience isn't necessary or conducive for a good debate, making sure American voters hear where both candidates stand on the issues.
The American people got to know what is at stake when it comes to Donald Trump. We got to talk about what it means for abortion rights, for the economy, for lowering costs.
One of the things both sides agree on: when to hold the first debate, happening earlier than they would under the traditional model organized by the Commission on Presidential Debates, giving voters more time to consider their options. In Washington, Angie Gonzalez, Spectrum News.
Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, back on the stand today as the former president's criminal hush money trial continues. The defense cross-examining Cohen, whose credibility could determine Trump's fate in the case. Meantime, the former president is requesting New York's highest court to intervene in his fight over the gag order against him. His attorneys filing an appeal yesterday after the state's mid-level appellate court denied the request to modify or lift restrictions on the gag order. Trump judges to the former president with jail time if he continues to violate a ban on commenting about witnesses and jurors connected to the trial. The U.S. House of Representatives voting overwhelmingly to reauthorize funding for the Federal Aviation Administration just days before the funding was set to expire. The $105 billion bill adds funding for airport infrastructure, improved safety measures. It will also help travelers get refunds for delayed or canceled flights. President Biden is expected to sign the bill into law later this week. The U.S. military says it has finished installing a floating pier to allow for additional delivery of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. The completion coming at a critical time for the besieged enclave, as Israel's seizure of the key border crossing of Rafah has dramatically limited deliveries of food and other supplies. The new maritime route will face significant logistical, weather, and security challenges. American officials insist U.S. troops will not set foot in Gaza, though they acknowledge the danger of operating near the war zone. Tensions at a pro-Palestinian protest on campus of the University of California, Irvine boiling over last night as police made arrests and cleared an encampment. School officials requested police intervention after several hundred protesters entered a lecture hall and surrounded the building. The unrest coming only hours after a union representing some 48,000 UCI graduate students and other academic workers voted to authorize a strike over free speech and student safety concerns. Ahead on Spectrum News, we take you inside one school district that's front and center in the debate over teaching critical race theory.
Here's the deal. In this election year, people need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. So join us every week to catch up on the key stories making a big difference across the nation and in your local community.
Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Spectrum News Plus. Available on all of your favorite devices exclusively on Spectrum.
At Spectrum, we know how much you depend on the reliability of our products and services. Now, we've taken a step forward in reliability by identifying potential service issues before they become a problem. If you're affected, we'll contact you and help schedule a free service appointment with one of our expert technicians. The proactive maintenance of our network is one of the many reasons Spectrum delivers the most reliable internet speeds in the nation. Spectrum, keeping you connected.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Meteorologist Julie Marquez. I want to focus on the southern parts of the country right now because there will be heavy rain leading to flooding concerns and a risk of some severe storms too. In Oklahoma City and in Dallas, temperatures in the 70s today with a lot of clouds and rain to watch for. Austin, a stormy day at 83 degrees. In New Orleans, 87 degrees. Your chance of rain will increase tonight and Friday. We're going to get 1.5 inches to maybe 3 inches of rain around the Dallas-Fort Worth area into Waco. Parts of southeastern Texas could have isolated higher amounts, 4 to 5 inches of rain, and that's why a flood watch has been issued through Friday morning. That flood watch extends through most of Louisiana and parts of Mississippi. That is through Friday evening. Again, several inches of rain leading to flooding concerns. In addition, we also have a risk of some severe storms today. There may be isolated strong wind gusts in Milwaukee, near Chicago, or maybe even in parts of southern areas of Missouri and along the southeast coast of Florida. But the highest risk is in Texas today, where there's also a risk of tornadoes in addition to large hail and damaging winds. It's a level 3 out of 5 in Waco, Texas. Houston needs to watch out for thunderstorms. Same thing in Dallas, all the way back to about the Midland, Odessa area. And then Friday, that risk of severe storms moves through New Orleans to Jackson, Mississippi, Montgomery, and parts of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle have a risk of severe storms for Friday. We have this area of low pressure and these showers and storms breaking out across Missouri all the way down to Texas, where it could be a rough ride home from work today. So keep that in mind, that the heavy downpours will be with us along with that risk of strong and severe storms. That system is going to move eastward, so in Atlanta it spreads rain in your direction into Friday and Friday night. Showers and some storms will also be moving into the Carolinas at that time.
If you're just joining us or heading out the door, here's a look at what you need to know. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump agreeing to debate each other twice in the coming months. The first debate will be hosted by CNN on June 27th. Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen is back on the stand today as the criminal hush money trial continues. Trump's legal team cross-examining Cohen, whose credibility could determine the former president's fate in the case. And the U.S. military says it has finished installing a floating pier to allow for additional deliveries of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. That's a look at what you need to know this morning. Members of the Senate rolling out a legislative plan for the future of artificial intelligence just days after ChatGPT 4.0 was released. Spectrum's Kevin Fry has a look at the lawmakers' recommendations.
A roadmap for Congress' approach to cutting-edge technology. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer joined by bipartisan colleagues, taking the wraps off a 20-page report on artificial intelligence, outlining ideas to encourage innovation and also set up guardrails.
AI is so complex and so rapidly evolving and touching every aspect of society that we just couldn't sit on the sidelines or wait several years to see what might happen.
A year in the making, the document calls for the government to eventually invest $32 billion annually in non-defense AI innovation. It calls for taking steps to protect consumer data privacy and combat discrimination in the algorithms that fuel how AI operates. It also recommends lawmakers take up bills to help workers, including legislation related to retraining private sector employees. Senators touted the potential groundbreaking benefits AI presents and the risks.
We want what AI can do for the quality of life to actually be beneficial to every single citizen in our country.
What this all will look like in practice remains to be seen. Schumer says Senate committees will now get to work and expressed optimism something could get done before the 118th Congress wraps up in January.
We will not solve every issue that AI poses. That's an impossible dream.
Time is of the essence on one front in particular, safeguarding elections from the influence of AI. A Senate panel on Wednesday advanced bills that would, among other things, require disclaimers on political ads with certain AI-generated content. In Washington, Kevin Fry, Spectrum News.
Since 2020, hundreds of bills, resolutions, and orders banning the teaching of critical race theory have been introduced around the country, including one district in Southern California. The debate has sparked heated school board meetings and divided communities. Spectrum's Terilyn Wagner has more.
School board meetings in Temecula Valley haven't always sounded like this.
That's your first warning.
But over the past year and a half, tensions and tempers have been high. Christy McClure finds it disappointing. She has 2 kids in the district and 2 stepdaughters graduated from the schools.
It's undermining the trust in the teachers and the staff at the schools.
He's referring to the highly contentious debate that's broken out over some of the curricula. In 2022, the school board, which had 3 newly elected conservative members, approved a resolution to ban the teaching of critical race theory, or CRT, a mostly college-level study that examines systemic racism and bias. At the time of the ban, CRT was not being taught in any of the district schools. The board also had objections to a new social studies curriculum that mentioned Harvey Milk, the first openly gay man to be elected to public office in California. At one meeting, school board president Joseph Komrosky voiced his opposition.
Why even mention a pedophile?
Christy then wrote to the board to express her support of including Milk in the curriculum.
If you don't want your kid exposed to it, your solution is to remove it from everybody, including my kid. My solution involves it being available, but it means you're getting offended. How do you reconcile this?
The district ultimately approved the new textbooks, but only after Governor Gavin Newsom threatened to fine them for being out of compliance with state educational standards. It was a move that father of 4 Daniel Molina sees as an overreach.
Local control is more important than anything because the community should feel represented and we should have a say with how our children receive their education.
He also supports the resolution banning CRT, which is the subject of an ongoing lawsuit. So does mother of 2 Cole Everyman, who says CRT just creates division.
Teaching racism rather than just the historical events of our American past.
Cole is a graduate of TVUSD schools. She believes parents should be allowed to be involved as much or as little as they want in the curriculum.
The parents can either interject themselves into that and participate or say, hey, you know what? I trust you guys. You do your thing.
But Christy worries that teachers might be afraid to do their thing.
They're going to start editing what they do and changing how they do their job to avoid getting into trouble. And you can't do that to a school district.
Divide in the district runs deep, and while they may see eye to eye on very little, these parents do agree on one thing. The community needs to find a way to move past this. Their kids' education depends on it.
That was Terilyn Wagner reporting. Coming up on Spectrum News, we'll take a look at a high school band that captured the attention of legendary heavy metal band Metallica.
Spectrum News Plus. News from a new perspective, dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the nation. With balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News Plus. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez. We'll continue with mainly dry weather the next couple of days for a lot of the western portions of the country. But in the south, we're watching for the risk of severe storms and flooding around Houston, Galveston, back into Dallas too. That extends across Louisiana and Mississippi. Look at some of this heavy rain in Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky, and areas of rain for parts of the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast in the next couple of days. So today in Milwaukee and in Chicago, showers around, some thunderstorms could produce some strong wind gusts too. The temperature in Chicago is at 75 degrees. In Des Moines, 77 degrees today with a low of 55 degrees tonight. Indianapolis will have those clouds increasing with those rain chances increasing by tonight. And in Kansas City in the 70s today, we have a lot of clouds around, but areas of showers and some thunderstorms are moving across Missouri. And you can see all of that rain moving into St. Louis. That area of rain goes up through Milwaukee and into Green Bay, Wisconsin. And then you'll notice with this area of low pressure, it is moving toward the north and east. So around Kentucky, Ohio, and areas of Pennsylvania, the rain will be with us tonight and on Friday. That rain is moving into Buffalo. Today we've had rain in New York. There's a bit of a break for Friday, and then we'll see if we can get some more showers to move into Washington, D.C., Baltimore, New York, and maybe even into parts of Massachusetts too. So when we look ahead to New York City today, it's 66 degrees. It's cool with rain around, a low tonight of 59. Boston is 60 degrees, a lot of rain across Massachusetts today. Washington, D.C. gets the sunshine at 77 degrees. Enjoy the dry weather today in Atlanta because your rain chance will increase tonight and tomorrow. So we are expecting a risk of some strong or severe storms for Friday in Atlanta. Miami's a hot one at 94 degrees, small rain chance, otherwise partly sunny. New York City tomorrow, it is going to be drier. The temperature will be in the 60s Friday morning. You'll end your work week with highs in the 70s. There will be a few clouds around, but we're not expecting much rain for Friday. Meanwhile, today in Jacksonville, it's 92 degrees. It's not that hot in Dallas, Texas because of all of the rain, but they're certainly feeling the heat in San Antonio at 90 degrees today. We have some 70 in Montana, Wyoming, and across the Dakotas toward Minneapolis, where the low tonight's 53. Columbus, Ohio at 62 tonight. St. Louis at 64 degrees and some 70s along the northern Gulf Coast with more rain moving in tonight and tomorrow.
An independent commission investigating Maine's deadliest mass shooting hearing testimony today from the shooter's family for the first time. Last October, an Army reservist opened fire with an assault rifle in a bowling alley and then in a bar and grill in Lewiston, Maine. In March, an analysis of the shooter's brain tissue was released and showed evidence of traumatic brain injuries. Relatives and friends had warned police prior to the tragedy that the shooter had grown paranoid and were worried about his access to guns. A Texas high school band caught the attention of the well-known rock band Metallica, making its mark and standing out against other high school bands across the country. Our Lauren Kendrick explains how.
The Mighty Greyhound Marching Band and Color Guard at Bernie High School put it all on the line to show off their talents, and it paid off big time. Grabbing the attention of Metallica. Yes, that Metallica. And being picked as the best high school band in a contest against 450 other bands.
I was like, well, hold on, wait. Did we actually win that?
Band director Danielle Person and the group chose 4 Metallica songs to perform.
They play really well and they play really loud, and so they know that they've been getting good over the past few years, but they didn't know they would be, a contender and a winner for a national contest.
The first round was judged by notable band directors in their field.
And then let you be judged by Metallica themselves. So to not only be recognized by band directors in our field who are known to be very good, but Metallica themselves for recognizing and saying like, yes, that one's the one that we want to reward this for their hard work. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
He says a lot of hard work went into their submission video in a short amount of time.
Whenever we actually did the recording, we actually had 2 days. One of them was a rehearsal day. The other day was actually with the recordings. We had to wait for the sun to go down. And with that one, we had a sky cam. The audio that you hear is all one take.
Not finding out they won until January of this year, earning them $15,000 for new equipment Person says was desperately needed.
One of the big things was trying to just cycle out our old instruments. Our bass drums were very, very old and they just needed to be retired, and so we bought a whole new bass line. And then we also have some kids who come in with financial needs.
Buying an instrument the student otherwise would not have been able to buy. All in all, Person says the Mighty Greyhound Band's hard work paid off. But in his eyes, he always knew they were winners.
I'm proud that they get to be recognized by a national organization or a famous band like Metallica, because they're worth it. They're that good.
Bernie, Lauren Kendrick, Spectrum News.
And before we fade to black, remember you can always stay connected with us here at Spectrum News by getting your national and local headlines on the go. Just download the free Spectrum News app. It's available in the App Store and on Google Play. I'm Bree Driscoll. Thanks so much for watching. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
The 2024 election will decide who leads our nation and the balance of power in Congress, impacting all of us. From Capitol Hill to the Oval Office, let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth coverage with our dedicated experts in local politics. Strengthening democracy by informing your community. That's our mission. Available on all of your favorite devices, exclusively on Spectrum.
At Spectrum, our workforce of over 100,000 employees are all located right here in the U.S. You can find them in the stores, in the field, and in our call centers with 100% U.S.-based customer service. Our team works hard to provide the towns, cities, and neighborhoods they live in with the reliable services that everyone counts on, making us one of America's most trusted companies. We're Spectrum, creating jobs and opportunities across the country, and proud to be 100% U.S.-based.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."